Tuperos y tuperas, today on DOOP by the River, ladies and gentlemen, the Union are rolling on in Leagues Cup. We're going to discuss what happened against the Red Bull, and of course, we're going to look at Queretaro again. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get it started, guys. Done it! DOOP by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. Philadelphia Union, and of course we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of DOOP by the River, welcome on in, whether you're watching live on YouTube or if you're watching live on our Twitter account. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, we are available wherever you stream podcasts. Find us under DOOP by the River Podcast, but make sure you guys hit the like button. Subscribe for more live viewings. And of course, follow us for more here on Twitter. And of course, before we dive into today's episode, we do have to give a quick shout out to all 1,000 followers on Twitter. Yesterday, we got the news that we hit our 1,000th follower on Twitter. Our DOOP by the River group chat was a sappy one. We got our Kleenex in on that one. But we wanted to just take a quick second while we're live and just thank everyone for showing love and support. We always, number one, want to talk about this team because we know that there are people who love this team, and we know that the coverage for this team is not the most, and typically most of the time not the best either when you're talking about national or even locally. So we every week we give you the perspective of a Union fan, and we're truly thankful that you guys watch. I put it out there yesterday. Tim deserves a lot of credit for the following on Twitter. His game day coverage has been spectacular, but more importantly as well, it's not just him. It's not just me. It's Justin that you see here on the screen as well. It's Zach Labasso you see on the episode as well. It's our writers that we have here as well, from Jimmy, from Paul, from Steven as well. So guys, thank you so much for all the love and support. Justin, I can't thank you enough as well, man. You've been dealing with me, and you've been dealing with all of our Union fans, man. But you've been in a great addition as well. And dude, man, we hit 1,000 followers. That's a big one, man. That's a big one.
Yeah, man. To all our loyal followers, many of which, especially in the last year or so, have started coming up to me at Zeds, at tailgates, and just talk how they listen to the pod and how they love, some of the takes. And I would say, you sure you listen to the right pod? Listen, I'm amazed that people have stuck around long enough to listen to my antics. As Tim is aware, and listen, Tim, I remember during the pandemic when I thought about starting a pod, and you and Tim were kind of getting this off the ground, and Tim immediately messaged me and said, no, you're coming with us. And I hopped on thinking, oh boy, it's been a while since I've done a podcast, and man, it almost 3 years, a lot of craziness on the way, a lot of highs, a lot of lows with this team. I'm amazed that people have listened to us long enough. So genuinely, from the bottom of this big bald heart, thank you all for putting up with my antics, my takes, my ridiculousness, but just letting us do what we love, which is talk about the team that we love so very much.
Yeah, dude, and thanks to everyone for his listen. Thanks everyone for following as well. Obviously, a lot more episodes to go. I want to shout out as well all the great guests we've had as well, dude. Like, because of this podcast, we've had Sebastian Latou, we've had Danny Higginbottom, we've had Jack McGlynn, we've had Leon Flock, we had Max Bredos as well. So it's really dope that this podcast has allowed us to talk to people who we didn't know we could ever talk to, and the list is going to continue growing as well. Now, we do have some plans of bringing some more guests on, but those definitely deserve some shout outs as well, man.
And the friends especially that we've made along the way.
Hell yeah.
Especially, to people that I think that I've grown closer to over these times are our good friend Eve from The Ball Is Round. I love talking with Eve, every so often, just kind of shooting the shit and listening. And I love to listen in on her crew. They provide a wonderful insight on not just Montreal, but Canada soccer as a whole. And our good pal, Matt Sia of the EPL boys. Matt, I am now in a regular Instagram reel sharing chat with myself, Matt, and JD. Listen, these guys are people that I don't know if I ever would have met outside of this, as Matt loves to say on his pod, the best friends made through the internet. Matt is someone I talk to very regularly, whether it be our disdain of some stuff in the league or our shared worry about Manchester United. It's been a lot of fun, and I've met a lot of fun people along the way with this podcast, and it's kind of funny how many people now who actually listen to Philly Union podcasts will be like, "Oh, you're on, you're on Dupe by the River," and it's like, "Oh yeah," people are starting to listen and recognize, and it's just like a weird sensation, in our little niche area that we're, but it's been a blast, and I love that people have tuned in for God now, Johnny, 3 years now. That where does the
Time
time
flies,
go?
man. Time does fly, man, and it's been spectacular. You like that? It's great. It's funny you mentioned that. Like we've met so many people from so many different markets, and Justin, we still need to hit so many more markets simply because of just more podcasters. Need to make more. We need more podcasters and more markets, and also too, with the whole expansion, we're not playing like teams like Austin and Minnesota and Seattle every year, so we haven't been able to talk to those people. But I'm excited to get to talk to some of those content creators out there as well. And yeah, we're continuing growing, man. We're gonna continue growing. We're gonna continue doing this Duke thing, as we say here in Philly. And we realize that this club is growing at a rapid pace, and we love the fans, the OG fans, the day one fans, the 07, 08 fans. But we also love the person who just found the love for the Union as well. And so we just want an inclusive environment here, man. But speaking of which, Justin, I want to talk some shithousery, bro. It's the perfect time with Leagues Cup. We've had some rumors. So it's been really interesting as of late. Like, I don't think I've ever heard this many like stars like rumored to the MLS. This week you had like Neymar, you had Mbappe, Suarez trickle in over the last year and a half. But like this summer, the rumors were nuts. Now, nothing more likely is going to happen. I think we're done our deadline anyways. But regardless, like, do you read anything into it? Like, is there a bigger picture to any of these rumors? Like, could we potentially like next year or the next couple seasons? Could like a Neymar and Mbappe type of player legitimately consider the MLS?
Mbappe, no. I think that is kind of come on because of the standstill that PSG had put themselves at
Crazy
by
story in
trying.
its own right as well, by the way.
Yeah, like at this point, like I can completely and understandably side with Mbappe on this. Like he made his intentions clear, even though he probably should have left for Real when he did. But he also said he wasn't signing a contract further, and PSG really have no leverage other than holding him on the squad. But a guy like that, like he's still going to get caught up to the national team. He's still going to get the coverage. So like I don't think it's really going to benefit them. Neymar, I could actually see, especially with Messi, with Suarez potentially coming over. I know he's kind of been in limbo with talks, especially
He's
because I
giving
know
he's giving
he
Galaxy all day. He's giving Carson, California all day, Neymar.
I I know people were like, oh, it would be the Galaxy because it's LA. It's like, yeah, but we saw with like Diego Costa, like just because it's LA, like the team's still not good. So I don't think that's going to help anything. And LAFC, I mean, I don't even think they could squeeze that in under whatever bullshit rules they manage to break every time. I think you're starting to see that. Listen, Messi. Listen, obviously we go back to David Beckham was the original domino that fell in terms of a quote unquote global superstar. Obviously, you had the Pibe Valderramas, you had the Kobe Joneses, the Alexi Lalas's, the Ernie Steele. Like you had guys that were reputable, but Beckham was like that first that kind of transcended global. And I think Messi is a next level
He's a goat, man.
global superstar. Like
goat.
literally probably with not even arguing top 5 player of all time. You can't, like that's not an arguable statement. And to see like, yeah, okay, he's dominating, but like he hasn't played the best teams if we're putting it into context. Two, like, and especially like looking at like the game against FC Dallas, their defense is still garbage. They still conceded 4 goals. It took 2 very solid Messi goals to really pull them back in this. But I think you're starting to see now that teams are, and I think one thing that the overall aspect of Messi coming is that roster rules will change. I know there's been talks of adding a 4th DP and having the maximum salary hit go up, which I'm okay with. I think you got to keep some of the roster rules to at least keep parity, because if you get rid of all of them, you're going to have the LAFCs and Galaxy and Miami just spending it and dominating the league forever and not allowing teams to catch up as they have been. You'll see more and more of, obviously no one's going to be the Messis, the Ronaldos, but eventually, who knows? Maybe a Kevin De Bruyne, a Romelu Lukaku, a Jack Grealish, eventually Marcus Rashford. Like, you'll see these type of guys that are superstars in their own right eventually over the years start coming over. Who knows? Maybe, I know he's insanely up there in years, but man, I would love to see Luka Modric dominate this league, because my God, even at 37, 38,
those passes, man.
Dude, it's unreal how, and he's one of my favorite players, because it's unreal how just filthy his passing is. But like, that's kind of the players that like you could see. And I know, there's the Saudi money, but I think you'll see a lot more. And Messi's kind of the
did Fox pick up their TV rights in America?
From what I've heard, all indications are that. I mean, listen, it's not surprising me. It's Fox. Let's be honest. That does not.
I know,
but I think you're starting to see. I mean, listen, Messi was being offered what, like $500 million a year from them, and it's like you saw what the obviously one, he has a house in Miami. Two, the commercial interests for him were better here. I think you'll see that players will realize the value of coming here, because it's not going to be about the money. Like, listen, that's not why a player's going to be coming here. And I think it's kind of a market is untapped in terms of that kind of superstar potential coming over at not the the retirement league age. Like, yeah, Messi is 36, but like, he still can kind of ball out. Like,
won the World Cup.
yeah, he's not the same Messi, but
right.
No one's asking him to do that here. And I think that's why you're starting to see how it's really coming out. So the more that this kind of keeps in the mindset, the more that people kind of have this, and I hope that just not teams like Miami and LA are the ones that are getting these rumors, because I would love to see more players kind of spread themselves. Like when Ronaldo was rumored to SKC, I legit was like, that would be really genuinely mind-boggling and also very interesting to see him play at Children's Mercy Park. Like
I'm sure
I feel
Kavita
like
feels the same way.
it would be wild. Like I feel like that would be something that would be like, okay, that is not something we expected, or like imagine Mbappe going to the Columbus Crew, like right? Like that doesn't sound like something that would happen, but wouldn't it be interesting if it actually did? Like
And Mbappe partying at
I
like
feel
Ohio
like that's
State
the kind
Park.
of stuff that I'm hoping for. Yeah, listen, I've been down there. He absolutely could party it, but like I think that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I don't know if that'll happen, but I think
Okay.
you'll start to see more players like this start to really make their way over, and if you can balance that with the development league status that you're gaining, I would love to see that balanced effectively.
Yeah, I mean, like we're kind of like heading into, I guess, MLS 4.0, and it's like, well, like, why don't we just be like a well balanced league? Like, we can attract stars, we can also develop the future of the sport as well. So, I'm excited to see where this league is going. I mean, we've seen it constantly, like the quality on the pitch, just the lore of the league in general, everything, the stock of this league just continues to rise. And I'm excited what other players. I will say this: these star players need to stop watching like MTV or whatever it is, because like there are other great American cities besides New York, besides LA, besides Miami. And I get it. I get why people love the lure of it. But there's some other great cities in it. We have Canada too, man. Like, don't discredit Toronto, don't discredit Vancouver and all that. So we'll see how that this comes about. But let's move along here, Justin, because last night, or I'm already losing the day. The last Tuesday night we had a match. Union and Red Bull. Obviously, this was supposed to be on Monday, but of course, with the tornado warning, this got moved here to Tuesday. A 1-1 match. Red Bull get on the board first early on. So just some bad transition, bad turnover, some bad transition defense, and Red Bull got on the board first. You get Nathan Harriel, who got up again with the hops in the second half, 67th minute. He gets a header in there off a corner, knotted it up. Of course, it wouldn't be Union and Red Bull if after 90 minutes it finished in a 1-1 draw. It's just tradition. And the Union in penalty kicks got the job done. Blake got some help from the crossbar, but also got some saves. And Jesus Bueno get the game-winning PK. And yes, sir. And the Union move on here with the PK win. They move on to the next round. I do want to get to the gym comments because they are funny, but I want to talk about some players, and I want to talk about first off the player who won the penalty kick shootout for the Union. Jesus Bueno comes on in the second half, but dude, like his presence was felt. He gets the game-winning goal. People are it's not like it's no Union fans are noticing him, but I think like league-wide, people are starting to hear the name as well. Like we've talked about this, like the center back, or not center back, the central defensive midfield depth on his team was always deep. And for Bueno, it was trying to fight for those minutes. The dude put in that work. The dude's been getting the minutes, and he's getting that recognition. There is a contingency of Union fans who are saying that this man needs to be in the starting lineup every single match. That's where we're at right now. So I mean, Justin, like, what did you see from Buenito on Tuesday night, and just in general?
Yeah, so the one thing that I definitely noted, especially in the first half, and Tim and I talked about it, was the midfield was causing a lot of problems for the Union. It was very disjointed. You had two players in Brujo and Leon, who Leon can do the destroyer duties, but can't really bring the ball up. Brujo can do the destructive duties, can bring the ball up slightly, but likes to play up higher. And you have Jack McGlynn, who is not really going to be chasing anybody down and is that regista. And I think that was a poor choice. Not the tactics were wrong, but a poor lineup choice from Jim. And so I think subbing Leon off for Jesus was, I said that was going to be what was going to happen at halftime. I think that was a smart move. Jesus brings that type of energy. I think initially it was very hot-headed. I think he came to tackles hard and was getting at cars and was starting to kind of, but I think you've started to see over the past few months, and I wonder if it's a conversation with Jim or just kind of his teammates kind of settling him down. you've seen this change in Jesus where he is still providing that spark, providing that energy, but he's doing it smartly. He is allowing himself to get entrenched into the game, to find the moments to. I mean, there were several moments where he timed his tackles so perfectly to challenge. Where there were other moments where instead of going in for the challenge, he backed off, made the smart defensive read, and then cut the play off, and then started the play back the other way. His reading of his position IQ and ability to judge when to time those tackles has been getting better. I definitely think that's something that has absolutely really been a big asset in his game. His willingness to kind of work on combining to get involved. He's served some solid crosses in. At this point, it is becoming really hard to justify, and this is also with the context that Ali probably won't be there. Daniel, they talked about 1 to 2 weeks, but then I also heard reports that he may only miss Friday if and could be back for the semifinal if which would be a massive help, but also I think you don't want to rush him. But I think having Jesus in there gives you that freedom to have someone who really can, and then have Brujo essentially help protect the back line and have it. So I think that gives whoever else is in the midfield more protection to do what they do and allows Jesus to kind of get in and really set the pace in the midfield, which the Union were severely lacking in the first half. I think they were getting in their own way. Passes were all over the place. I mean, one person in particular, Damian Lowe, who has typically played well, had a horrific first half. It like the amount of misplaced passes, bundling the ball, holding on the ball too long. There was a lot where I just looked and went, this team is their own worst enemy. They're getting in each other's way. And a lot of the changes that were done, especially with Jesus coming in and having like you saw those changes came through, Mikel Uwa coming in, like as soon as those changes came through, I was like, okay, you noticed the second half started, the Union were on the front foot. They were pushing, and I think Jesus Bueno was a big factor in helping to sway the momentum that ultimately led to the way that, I mean, the Union legitimately probably should have had at least 2 or 3 more. Like the way they were pushing the second half, it felt like another goal was coming. And when it was PK, it was like, okay, well, this team is still, the momentum is riding high.
Yeah.
And I think that you definitely saw it in the way that this team responded.
Yeah, and another player I want to talk about too is Urre. I think he's being a lot of slack as of late. Not people happy with the only 7 goals throughout this year overall. But when he came in, obviously the Union were running. Gazdag was a more up forward than he is back as his number 10. So no Urre. So kind of was lacking that little creativity. When Urre got in the match, though, you saw the difference. You saw him stretch that back line. The goals, obviously, he needs to score some more goals, but just like again and again and again, like I feel like people just look at goals and that is the determining factor of a forward. But especially like in this system where like the movement of the team as a whole is so much more important than just one player and one little stat line there. And I thought Urre proved that there on Tuesday night.
Yeah, when Mikel came in, I think it was clear that, again, and we've talked about the success that the Union have had against the Red Bull, and it has been stretching their back line. And immediately, one of the first things that Uwa did was get in a ball and blow past Nealis and force, like, and I think Uwa's not really his hold up game, but his one-on-one decision making has gotten better. I think he's definitely started to pick out
space for others, dude. That's really what
he's been creating a lot of space, deciding when to like. There were times where he'd pass it to Kai on the overlap, or he'd pass it to Bueno or Brujo on the crash on the top of the box. And I think he's been picking up those passes very smartly. And I think that's the problem is people look at it like, a striker's worth is only about goals. Like, well, it's not just that. There's also assists. There's also chances created. There's also the space they open up. And what Mikel was doing was allowing the players to get in behind. He was forcing the defenders on the back foot, and then as they were trying to catch up, he was throwing it in with the space in behind. And that definitely was something where it was clear that his presence was being felt. And I think that might be something where for the next game, I think he gets to start because it's clear that he can tire out. And you're starting to see that he can go longer than 60, 65 minutes. He can push to that like 80, 85, even sometimes even 90 mark. So I think he's starting to clearly show that he can stay in there and create problems all game long.
Yeah, we'll talk about his effectiveness in the next game in a little bit, but the one thing I'll say too is that like it'd be one thing, Justin, if like this team wasn't scoring goals, but this team is scoring goals for people to start criticizing his goal amount. Like if we weren't scoring goals, I could understand people coming at Ure, but the goals are falling in. They may not be coming from Ure's feet or head or chest or whatever, but like people are scoring and people are benefiting from his off the ball play. So he continues to me be more, but let's for sure the goals. I will agree. Goals we need some more goals from Ure, but can't discredit what he's been doing. I'm gonna pull up the comments. This is from Joe Tanzi. Make sure you guys are following Joe Tanzi. I think Troy's great. Obviously, the interim manager of the Red Bull. He's a great young coach. I think he's doing an incredible job with his team. I really do. He deserves to be a head coach of that team. But I will say this has nothing to do with Troy. For a team to be in 21st place and talk and run their mouths as much as they do on the field, to be beat here 11 times in a row by us is something that, yeah, I'm giving them bulletin board material. But I've had enough of it. Credit to my guys for sticking together and pushing and winning again. But yeah, all of the stuff they had to deal with on the field, off the ball, nonsense, people coming off the bench talking. Bench players that come into the game and talk and run their mouths is just strange and something I'm going to address and speak my mind because I'm proud of my group. Because I'm proud of my group. I'm sorry, and the way they have done their talking on the field and have now 11 games in a row, almost 5 years against Red Bull. I think Joe also did correct himself because I think Jim messaged him.
It was a clarification.
Yeah, 3 draws right in there as well.
8-0-3 in the last 11 games.
But yeah, I mean, the gist of it here, by the way, I want to get your thoughts too, Justin, because obviously it's hard when you're watching it from home. But like, I didn't know like the amount of shit talking that was going on. I saw the bickering, the back and forth between the two sides, but not the bench players coming out here. But Jim really raised a good point. Like, Justin, you've been with this team since before day one, right? You remember from 2010 to 2018, dude, it was not fun playing the Red Bull, dude. We hated this team and they always got us. And things have changed since 2018. And it feels awesome. It feels 100% awesome. But like, yeah, like it feels like the Red Bull now are climbing up to us. And the thing is, Justin, we took their model, building from within, that defensive structure that you see here with Philly. Like those are all things Red Bull have been doing for a while. And we perfected it, my dude. Dude, Red Bull are our sons, Justin.
Yeah, I thought the comment, it felt weird, admittedly. I mean, for a team that won, like it was definitely not a comment. But I think the problem too with that was the ref lost control of the game. It was the little things during the game that like it was little things here and there, comments back and forth, and you had those tackles that kept like it was like in the DC game, you had a rash of tackles where a card should have come out. Cards weren't coming out, and the ref was not like there was one where it was towards the end line where Julian gets past and the two players slip. But then as Carranza's trying to get onto the ball, you then see the defender haul him down, like grab a hold of the jersey and haul him down. And the ref looks at it and just does the coming together symbol. It's like, no, that's not what happened. And I think, yeah, you saw bench coaches getting up and arguing with the refs. Players were walking into the game and talking smack. I'm not one to say, oh yeah, we're dominant, but it's like over the last 5 years, yeah, it's become much easier in those games. Like, yeah, they're still ugly as shit. They're still very close games, but Jim technically didn't say an inaccurate statement. They have in the last it's 11 games in a row, and like at that point, there wasn't much of a reason for Red Bull to come in with that bravado. And I don't give a at this point give a shit about this kind of a thing. But and in fairness, I think it would have been just if Jim just didn't say anything. But Jim said something, and it's not like it was an inaccurate statement. It's one of those things where there's not a lot going right at the moment.
Yeah.
With Red Bull, and it just I know the Union haven't played their overall. They're probably outside the group stage. They haven't played their best, but I mean they're getting the job done, and I think that's something to be said about the way Jim gets this team prepared.
I think the big difference too, Justin, obviously the Union have more talent than the Red Bull, but I think the big reason why the Union were able to surpass DC, surpass the Red Bull, is because of the leadership of this team. The Red Bull, I mean, can you point to one player that solidifies leadership? I can't even name you the captain of the Red Bull, bro. And I think
it's one of the Nealis brothers.
That I think to me that is just a point. You look at this roster, look at the amount of players that are just playoff tested who just have that dog mentality on the Union, and the Red Bull. Granted, good. I think they have some solid young players. But I just again you do need some of that veteran leadership. You do need some of that toughness, that dog mentality a little bit. Because look, even you look at the MLS Cup. I mean, many people wrote off the Union, but they didn't care. They went in there and they gave it a freaking match. It's because of the build of this Union team, man. So that we'll see the Red Bull again on September 3rd. I am curious to see how that one turns out, Justin. That should be fun.
That'll have a little extra spice to it.
Yeah,
I have a
man.
feeling.
I like my spice, man. So I'm intrigued on that one, man. But let's look real quick at this Queretaro match. It is interesting because we did play these guys not too long ago, and so they'll be back here Friday. Dude, they've literally been on the East Coast for 2-3 weeks now, right? They don't even go back to Mexico.
They played Pumas in DC, and they played New England.
My God, man, that's crazy. So I before we get into this match, I want to talk a little bit about League Cup and just kind of the state of it. Obviously, you saw the Mexican Federation, the Liga MX comments that they put out there yesterday. Obviously, I do feel for these teams. It's tough. Quetaro's been here for what 3-4 weeks now, all throughout the East Coast, away from home. That is tough, right? That's like the bubble again. You're down in Orlando for that long. So, I mean, dude, just your thoughts, from the Mexican side, from the referee calls, from just the travel in general.
So this is some of the biggest whining I think I've ever seen. This is kind of what is a good rant. This is what grinds my gears. They agreed to this damn tournament. They agreed to it.
They took that money
solely in the States. Yeah, about the money, about the spots. And you're complaining about VAR, which, oh, by the way, probably the only controversial call involving VAR was between two MLS clubs. And I'm sorry, but with the travel, it's the US is a big country. This is why we talked about to Euro snobs about it's different from from Liverpool traveling to Manchester than it is from the Union traveling to San Jose or Seattle. I think
saw those complaints too, man.
To me, it is an absolute joke that after they know what they signed up for, that now they whine and bitch and moan and complain. I'm sorry, I get it. The travel must suck. But at the end of the day, you signed up for it. And I know there's more MLS clubs, but overall the matchups have not gone in Liga MX's favor. And like it what at this point they're running through the gamut of excuses. And I'm sorry, but last time I checked, we don't get those fucking excuses when they've beaten our butts in CCL. So at this point,
Literally.
I don't want to fucking hear it. Like this, I saw those comments and it made me laugh because, like, there's no ground to stand on for this because they know they signed up for it. It was a literal cash grab. They got their teams involved, and guess what? You're finding out what happens when you're staying in the United States of traveling for a solid month. Like you started up, and guess what? It happens. So fucking deal with it.
I really did think it was hilarious too because of what you said. Like my first thought was like, wait, didn't like Liga Mekis like wipe us on the floor for CCL all those years? Now I know it's a little bit different because you got to keep in mind we have Caribbean teams, we have Central American teams, but regardless of the fact is that this CCL, the Champions League tournament, has never favored us. Number one, obviously talent, we're slowly getting there, but number two,
Money.
well, yes, but the scheduling. Dude, the scheduling killed us for so many years. Now we have the talent to kind of surpass that, and luckily, to teams like Seattle and LA have really helped us in that factor. But we didn't make those excuses, man. Like we took it on the chin, we took those beatings, and we got better as the years went on. And luckily now, like it's more of an even playing field. And now it's the CONCACAF Champions League Cup, which I don't care for.
CONCACAF Cup.
The CONCACAF. I can't get
every
that.
time people say CONCACAF Cup now, I'm like, what
Ugh.
the hell are they talking about? I'm like, is there another tournament? I'm like, oh no, wait, they're just changing the damn name of it.
Dude, just change it back to the Champions League. Like I whatever. But either way, I thought it was freaking hilarious. I mean, and like like the America fan, like we dealt with the America fans right in 21, and they not always the most pleasant. Very passionate, but not always the most pleasant. Dude, the disgrace that they showed in Nashville after the right call was made on the fucking
holy shit! Like I'm a goalie, and I get it. You want to, but the dude took a full step in front of the line. The rule is keeping 1 foot on or behind the damn line. It is not that hard. Like, and he probably still would have made the save if he had done it the normal way.
And then they throw the fans throwing the beer, dude. Like it's freaking.
Well, that might be Nashville. Who knows? Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't see, but I mean, remember they threw the water bottle at Gazdag after the PK, so wouldn't surprise me.
There you go. All right. So with this Queretaro match, one thing I will say, like, and I was watching the first game earlier today, dude. Gazdag probably had his best performance in this tournament in that match. He had, I think, like at 3 out of the 5 goals were based off of him and just his play, whether it was goal or assist. And so, like going into this one, Queretaro, if you remember, Justin, they came into with a game plan. They wanted to play physical. They wanted to match their physicality. They gave those extra pushes. They were extremely physical on the night, and they thought that would work. So, not saying like obviously like not too concerned, but obviously being a team again is not easy, right? Like we just played them like a week ago. It's not easy to beat him again. So for you, my man, like how confident are you with this one now?
I'm still feeling pretty confident. I mean, like if you look at their goalie made a really good save against Pumas. It was a wonder goal.
We're not gonna see Arana this time around. It's the youngster from Copa America.
Yeah, the young guy
here.
But
Fernando Tapia.
So like looking at it all, they're still. I mean, they've still barely beaten both those teams. Still impressive wins. Like I'll give them that. PK but at the end of the day, we're missing Gazdag, but I think the Union were on the front foot, and I think Jim. Listen, Jim's not taking them lightly, but I think if you're the Union, you want to make a statement. You want to get on the front foot again, and I think they'll do that. So I'm pretty confident.
Okay. So like for you personally, like you gotta start Ure, right? With Carranza.
100%.
And so, like, are we doing the same three holding midfielders? Like either Bueno.
I think you got to change it up. I think
Okay.
you gotta have Bueno in there. I
Okay.
think. I wonder. So you got to do Bueno and well, you could do Bueno at the tip. So I think this might be the changes.
Oh, Bueno at the team.
Have him be the most advanced midfielder. I think he would excel at that. In the 3-5-2 in the possession or 5-3-2, I think he would absolutely excel at that. Let him run behind the strikers. I could absolutely see him balling out.
Dude, like as Holkey would say, Justin just got me moist with that comment right there, man. Dude, I'm in. I'm so on Buenito at the tip, bro. That'd be fun to watch. I would, and you know what too, like, I'm just thinking like this lineup, dude. I want to press the fuck out Queretaro. Let's put him into some tough spots. That back line, we saw. I mean, we can stretch that back line out. We can do whatever we want with that back line. So, dude, I'm excited with that game plan for sure going into this one. One thing I wanted to talk about too. Alley news. Obviously, you mentioned it earlier. So personally, though, how are you feeling about Alley though? Like,
I wouldn't be rushing him back into this tournament, to be honest.
do you shut him down for like at least the next month though?
No, I mean I think you shut him down. I'd say until Red Bull.
Okay, dude, I need him for the playoffs. Like, I
I
need
mean
him.
he's been training, but I think you shut him down until Red Bull.
Okay,
You don't know when Dallas is going to get rescheduled because realistically, so if you win tomorrow, you are playing a game on the 19th regardless because the 15th will be the semifinal, and then if you win or lose, the final / third place game is the 19th. So your Dallas games will get rescheduled. Then you have DC on the road and Toronto on the road before you play at home against Red Bull. I think you shut them down till then.
I mean, yeah, I don't see the need to rush, especially with the emergence of Bueno, adding some more depth into the midfield. So, it's definitely going to be exciting. We'll see with Gazdag. I heard
I've heard 1 week. I've heard maybe not. I've heard maybe next week. I don't know. But
I mean, if you have to play the M word the next match, might need Gazdak for that one. You might need him for that one. So
might.
You will see what happens there. But let's get a prediction, Justin. What do you think will happen tomorrow night? Friday night lights, dude. I love it.
I'm thinking 3-1 Union.
3. Okay, Justin's got a field goal here for the Union. All right. I think that they will take care of it. I don't think it'll be another shellacking again.
No.
Would love to see some Uray get on the board. I just want to see them pressure the fuck out of Queretaro. I think we had more possession on the Red Bull, if I'm not mistaken, at the end.
Yeah, it was like 65 to it was weird.
Yeah, that's not that's not typical Union soccer there. So definitely want to see. I definitely want to see them just pressure the fuck out of them. But I think it'll be a 2-0 win. I think the Queretaro won't be able to get one past Blake and defense. I think they'll shore up some things, especially in the midfield. Some of the mistakes you saw in the first game, I think they'll shore. The last game, I think they'll shore up in this one as well. Just a quick reminder, guys. We had Evan Cohen at SOB Evan yesterday. Fantastic interview. Love the kid. We're going to have to get him back on because I'm just going to get my popcorn ready for Justin and Evan to go at it.
I talked to him about it on Tuesday. I said, "What, Evan? Yeah. You're coming on our pod." He was talking. He's a fun kid to talk to. So,
dude, I love Evan, man. Yeah, we're going to have to have him back on, man, because he was a blast to talk to, man. But for sure, we're heading to the soup tomorrow night, right, Justin?
100%.
Anything expect from the SOB tailgate?
Unofficial, like it's been because of the midweek games. But I'll be down there.
You expect more than 4 Queretaro fans this time around?
Maybe 5.
It's a nice kit, dude. I must say it is a
nice kit. Will say I did like the kit they wore against New England. I thought that was really cool.
I'll have to check that out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of Dupe by the River. A big shout out to you guys for tuning on in. Thank you so much. Make sure, guys, hit that like button, subscribe for more of your Dupe by the River live viewings. We are available wherever you stream podcasts as well under Dupe by the River Podcast. Follow us on Twitter. We're at 1,000. Let's get to 2,000, guys. We appreciate all the love and support. We ain't going anywhere. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow for more. Ladies and gentlemen, that is JustinWish.com, Pat Friedberg. I go by the name of Ed Farcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to do ball.